And now, the star of the show, Jordan Rogozinski.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Jordan 411 Sports Show. Today we will be talking about the Winnipeg Jets and what they've been up to lately. And today I have my two co-hosts at this point, my brother Jeremy and my good Gerald from Mike FM. Please to welcome you guys.
Hey, our show can be summed up in one thing. You said what the Winnipeg Jets have been up to lately? A whole lot of losing. End of show. Done. We can all go home.
Yeah.
No,
Now,
in all seriousness, we're dead.
Yeah. Now let's start with Monday game. What were your guys' thoughts about the line changes that Rick Bowen did in the forward group and the D pairs?
You want to take this one first,
I'll
Chucky?
go
Because I'm going to be talking for a half an hour.
Okay, I'll go first. About time. Something had to change. You can't just be running the same lines over and over and over again, expecting different results. That's the definition of insanity. So he changed the lines. I'm happy that he switched Ehlers and Connor. Connor didn't deserve to be on the top line. He hasn't been playing that great lately. I thought the forward line, especially the top two lines, they did pretty well. They generated a lot of offense, a lot of chances. And the D pairings, I would say Pionk, I don't know about being on the top pairing. He did okay, but I just don't know if him and Morrissey mixed together well. But, it was okay, but the D pairing could be tweaked a little bit. But that's my overall thought.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't want to say I had a panic attack watching that game, but all of a sudden, Laurent Brossoit made me really nervous. But again, first game, but we can probably say that about him and since his first two starts of the year. So the goaltending to me hasn't been all that much of a concern. Because the team defense, I think there has been a real hesitation for I don't know what reason to flip Connor and Ehlers long term. There's a lot of analytics that suggest that Ehlers was Shifley and
Velarde.
Sorry?
Velarde?
I'm Velarde, seemed to have some good metrics. As people would remember, that was a line that got a fairly significant run when Kyle Connor was injured, and the game in LA where they put up 11 points between the three of them, combining for all five goals, and probably another one of those Winnipeg Jets impressive moments. Impressive wins along with a couple signature other wins this year. To me now, I think we found something with this second line by accident. This Monahan, Connor, Perfetti line. Now Perfetti, I don't know if you saw this, had 3 points in his last 26 games. He got 3 points in 60 minutes on Monday night. So, good for the kid in that regard. And that leads me to kind of our next discussion point. I know this wasn't quite on the agenda of things we were going to talk about, but I wanted to float it to you guys. And that is, how would you feel about that third line now being shuffled with, say, a Nino Niederreiter, Adam Lowry, Tyler Toffoli type of scenario? Because I think if you're going to go into the playoffs, you need to have three lines that are going to score. and a fourth line that can score occasionally. This Needle, Ryder, Lowry, Appleton line is kind of dried up offensively.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you get more offensive punch with Toffoli in your top 9 now, basically 7 through 9 on your forward depth chart, however you wanna bring that up. And then now you keep Perfetti in kind of that number 6 third line right winger, seems to be fitting with Connor or with Connor and Monahan. Quite successful. I think it makes your team deeper.
Yeah.
I think Cole Perfetti has no spot in that fourth line. When I looked at a fourth line, I consider it to be bumping and grinding more than anything.
Yeah.
Which isn't 91's game as we saw. And I think that, it'll come, people say, oh, yeah, who's going to come out of the lineup? I think the answer is easy. I think it's Morgan Barron. Barron's been able to do that a couple times this year. And I think if you did a Vlad Nemestikov, Alice Iafallo combination on your fourth line now, along with
Appleton.
with Appleton potentially, it just makes your team that much deeper. And I think the team, as we've seen during this losing streak, which was ended the other night, seemed to have trouble scoring. The top line in particular, the old top line, had trouble keeping pucks out of their net. I read a stat where they were like -7 over a 4-game period. Mark Shafley was a +24 just after the Ranger game, and now he's somewhere around a +17 prior to the LA game. So
wow.
And when you're giving up goals and you're not scoring goals, that's what you're gonna get. Is you're gonna get a prolonged. And to be honest, guys, I think this team has been carried so much by the 5-on-5 play. Any semblance of a power play or any semblance of a penalty kill, and I think we win a couple of those games where the 5-on-5 game isn't, at its best. And that's one of my concerns, to be honest, is if there's a 5-on-5 lull in the game, I don't think we have the special teams capability the way they're playing right now, -2 games against Columbus and Anaheim, where the power play seemed to ignite itself in the end. But it's like you said, right? The definition of insanity is trying the same thing and expecting a different result. I think that should be also hemmed on the
power play.
That could also be on the power play too, right? So you need to be able to find a way to protect your 5-on-5 game if your power play is not going to function at full capacity.
Yeah, the power play has been a problem all year, and the penalty kill. Like I just, like if something isn't working, like, like switch up the system maybe, or
It's maddening because I see other teams' power plays and they're moving around. Like you look at the Oilers, right? If you watch a power play, the Oilers, McDavid is never standing in the same spot over the course of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I just don't understand how this coaching staff hasn't figured out a way to make that work, because it seems like the stationary power play becomes so predictable.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna get into puck management. I've been noticing a lot of turnovers. Sorry, folks. There's a guy on a roof, so if you hear it a bit, that's what it is. But anyway, and we've been giving up a lot of pizzas lately, like a lot of blatant turnovers. So what do you guys think? And I know it's hockey; they're gonna happen. But what do you guys think?
I think like they need to manage the blue line better. They need to learn when to dump it in and when to carry it in. Because a lot of times they're stopping at the blue line and they're forcing a pass across the ice, and then it gets picked off and the other way, 4-on-1. Look at that Ottawa game. Like, that stuff can't happen. And that's your top centerman, Mark Scheifele, doing that. Like, that's not good. You got to get that out of your game. In the playoffs, you can't be doing that. At north, south, up and down. No east, west. You can't be fancy like that. Like, I just don't understand. Hockey's so simple, yet the Jets make it so complicated.
Yeah.
With the east-west play.
It's not just the pot management, it's where the turnovers happen on the ice.
Yeah.
In a position where the team that they're playing can turn that around quickly in transition. And I'll be honest, I don't believe that the Winnipeg Jets have a very mobile defense that can adapt to the quick transition game of an Edmonton, of the teams that really like to play it up the ice, like even what's now looking to be like the Winnipeg Jets' first round opponent, the Colorado Avalanche. I fear what's going to happen if we didn't do a track meet with them. To be honest, I think the Jets have to bring that series into the back alley, but we'll talk about that in a couple of weeks when we look ahead to the playoffs.
Yeah.
But a big part of the Jets' problem is puck management, and I think the example, and I hate to use this example again and pick on this one individual, but I think you guys will know where I'm going with this. In Edmonton, the overtime, there is no need for that behind the back pass in overtime, given your number one, time of the game, number two, the team you're playing. There is granted Lowry, I think, had a chance to win that thing before it ever came back down the ice, but there are mistakes that the Winnipeg Jets are making puck management wise that will have them out in 4 or 5 games in the playoffs if this continues. And
they're egregious mistakes. Like, they're leading to.
And it's so weird because, weird. No, it happened. I have my biggest problem on the losing streak was the Islander game and was the New Jersey game.
Yeah, me too.
I could live with Washington, 0-0 after, 0-0 after the second period, and you're going to have a bad third period. I get it. Vegas, I get it. 1-1, third period. It's not going to go your way. Should that have been a 5-minute major? That's up for debate.
Yeah.
I think it should have been, but those officials telling me no, they got the call right for this and this reason. Sure, believe what you want to believe. The Edmonton game, for me, we saw a lot of encouraging things. I fought down 3-1 in the third period. They turned that thing around. Wouldn't you know it? It's a defenseman shooting the puck with traffic on the net. And deflections. See, I don't have that big of a problem with the Ottawa game. If you want to talk about the first and third period, the second period was just the worst defensive period I've ever seen from a Winnipeg Jets team coached by Rick Bowness.
Yeah.
To steal a line from Jordan, the pizzas that were being served up over there. That seemed to be the last drop for the Connor line as it currently constructed. Because if you look, they went to that Ehlers combination in the third period. They seem to have stuck with it. Hallelujah to most of Winnipeg. But all in all, I want to see the way they start the game tonight against Calgary, the way they finished against LA. That third period, they got back to their game. Brossoit made the big save with the breakaway that went over top of the net. Well, I'm going, oh no, oh no, oh no, as he's going down the ice.
Oh, I'm like, it's in. He scored.
But yeah, so I just want to see. But listen, Dad, I don't care about playoff positioning anymore.
Yeah, no.
I just want to see the type of game or close to the type of game that had this team go 11-1-1 in the month of January. Now, that's probably a lot to ask, but if it's been done before, it can certainly be done again.
Be done again.
And guys, I've been real impressed with Sean Monahan still to this day.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chevy.
The deflections, the small plays he makes. The one negative is he couldn't bury that one in the third period against Ottawa. He's got the hole in net. but no, you can't. And again, like the Ottawa game, you can't take that penalty that late in the game. That's a penalty all day, all night.
You gotta be in control there.
Yeah, there's no need for that. The puck is nowhere near any type of danger. In fact, it's about 100 feet away, and you just knocked it down because he's close to your goaltender.
Yeah.
You can't do that. If you push him over, fine, you probably get away with it, but not.
I mean, Lowry said after that game, he said it's a lot of stubbornness.
And that, Jordan, I think you guys would agree. A lot of it on this losing streak was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. It wasn't really other teams.
Well, all the turnovers, I mean, that's self-inflicted, right? Giving them puck. You know, that Kyle Connor in overtime against Edmonton, that's just stubborn. Like, that's just bonehead.
Oh, wait. We need to talk about the line changes, apparently. They don't know how the line change.
Oh,
yeah, that was a thing, too.
Yeah.
They got caught on a couple changes in the Ottawa, I think, in the second period.
Again, self-inflicted.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Bonus has made this abundantly clear from day one of camp. Short shifts. We're out there way too long.
Yeah.
And to be honest, guys, I think that's the byproduct of a team that's trying to do too much.
Oh.
One guy is trying to say, I'm going to be the one responsible for ending this winning streak. Or this losing streak, pardon me. And then that's where the peril kind of hits in.
Yeah, there was a lot of that through the losing streak. Guys trying to stick handle through four guys.
Yeah.
You know, that one Shifley going into he stick handled into the slot by himself. You know, like just trying to do too much because, you know, they hate losing. Like they want to win, but, you know, you got to play as a team.
What do we feel about the schedule upcoming? Like I was looking at it, you know, before we started recording, and it's interesting because they got Calgary tonight, then they go to at Minnesota, at Nashville, at Colorado, at Dallas. Ooh.
But you know what? To prepare for the playoffs, I think it's perfect. It'll prepare them for the playoffs.
Yeah. After I saw the immature effort from the Oilers last night, oh man.
5-0 they lost against Dallas.
Yeah.
Thanks for a lot of help on the out-of-town scoreboard.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, we could still catch Colorado and get home ice advantage.
Just like I said, I just want them playing well. I didn't think they can win on the road. They can win at home.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's a 6-game streak that is separating us from being right up there. For 95% of the season, we've been right there.
Yeah, right there.
With those two teams. Nashville's all of a sudden falling off.
If we get our game back, we can beat anybody.
And that's why. I mean, look at November, December. They were unbeatable.
Yeah.
But
you know, we were at that Boston game in December, me and Jordan, and we were like, wow. Like, Their
They dummied
they
the Bruins.
lost and looked like nothing.
They
Yeah.
dummied the Bruins that
Yeah.
night.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think about Connor Hellebuck being hung out to dry during the losing streak?
Oh, God.
You want to start with this one?
Yeah, obviously not good. I mean, it's not Hellbuck's fault. I mean, it's the play in front of him. I mean, yeah, it's just very unfortunate. I mean, goaltending's the least of our worries. We have to get back to that defensive structure. 5-on-5.
Which game was it? Was it the Islander game where it looked like he was going to kill somebody?
It might have been.
Because he looked at a couple of those defensemen.
I don't blame him, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near Connor Hellebuck when he's tipped off.
Oh no.
No.
Goalies are funny characters, man. They're
Yeah, no, the goaltending to me is a microplasm of the way the whole team is playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, I would like to see him back in the net tonight just to try to try to get him feeling good. I know there's that notion out there, you should maybe run with Laurent Brossoit that he won the last game. Nah, you're not going to see him in no offense, you're not going to see Laurent Brossoit in the playoffs unless something goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you think they managed the goalies the right way? Do you think Hellebuck played too much or just the right amount? Or
I mean, what is Connor Hellebuck? Right? He's the definition of a workhorse. You
Yeah.
know, he wants 60, 65 games a year. It's been that way for the last, as long as I can remember in full seasons. I think part of the problem is when you sign up to be a backup in Winnipeg, you're at the mercy of when Connor Hellebuck doesn't play. I think in hindsight, Laurent Brossoit was signed with the uncertainty of Connor Hellebuck. If they had to move on, they still had a competitive goaltender that could potentially give them number 1 minutes. I think that was the thought process behind Brossoit signing this year. Yeah. But again, it's as far as tandems, I think the Jets have the best tandem in the league. And
yeah.
I'd like to see them maybe pull back on Connor Hellebuck a little bit on this upcoming road trip. But I think he'd be the first to admit, too, that he needs to get his game right, which hasn't been right, even since the Islander game. I can't remember if it was Brossoit played the Jersey game, and then he came in for the Islander game. But, yeah, he hasn't won in an awful while.
Yeah. No, it's been a while.
Yeah, so no, I just think it's all about getting Connor Hellebuck right for the playoffs, with the caveat in mind that the Jets are currently ahead in the Jennings Trophy race still, despite everything that has happened.
Well, Florida's going through a rough patch.
Yeah, so the Jennings, for those that don't know, is given to the goaltending tandem or the goaltender that has given up the fewest goals. The caveat is to be on the Jennings Trophy, your goaltender has to play 25 games. Now, Laurent Brossoit is needing 4 more games out of these next 7. I can't see how that's going to happen. I did have somebody tell me, and I don't know how accurate this is, but it's actually 25 appearances. So could you see him in a big deficit or a big lead come in the last 5 seconds of the game to get him an appearance? Possible. I mean, I think he gets at least 2 more starts. I think the last game of the season against Vancouver is one of them, and then one more maybe on this upcoming road trip.
No.
And then you have two more phantom appearances that somewhere down the line of, oh, Hellebuck forgot to tie his skate or something for 2 minutes.
Or you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Wow. That's funny. I was talking to a goalie about something like that, not to get too far off topic.
Yeah.
He said that is not an easy thing for a goaltender to do.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
So do I think he did? Biswas didn't get the 25 appearances. I think they're gonna find a way to get him there.
I hope so. He deserves it.
Yeah.
All you do is you just pull him. You pull Hellebuck in a 5-1 game where you're up for like the last 10 seconds.
Even a
Hey,
2-game, right? Or
get him in the game, and then you did him at last start against Vancouver and one more, and you're off and running, I think.
Yep. Brad Lambert's been doing good lately.
Who, sorry?
Brad Lambert.
Yep.
I think he'll be on the Moose next year or on the Jets next year, Brad Lambert.
Yeah, the interesting part is, and we'll probably talk about this on the way out, that I want to know if you guys ended up seeing what happened between the Rangers and the Devils last night.
Yes.
Fight at the schoolyard, but whatever. Tell me you couldn't have seen that coming the way they were lining up. But I was talking to an official who said, "Yeah, what can we do? Right? We can't do anything because it's so early in the game and nothing's really happened." Unfortunately, 4 of the 5 guys, minus the 2 that supposedly started it, all got booted. So, yep, that's why. But there was a line brawl, for those that don't know, off the face-off between the Rangers and the Devils, and no surprises in the middle of it. I saw a statistic. Matt Rempe against the New Jersey Devils has like 4 minutes in total ice time.
Yeah.
But 60-something penalty minutes.
Yeah.
But no, it's a talking point for sure. That stems from an episode that happened with Curtis McDermott getting lit up by Matt Rempe the last time these two teams played it about a month and a half ago, and Curtis McDermott saying he had no respect for Matt Rempe.
But then he backed up last night and he said, "Oh yeah, he's a good kid,"
Yeah, it's all, you know what? It's interesting. Jordan, I know you have some pins that you wanna wrap up with, but this is just something that kind of popping in my head. What do we make of fighting on the up, particularly the last 3 weeks? Like, I've seen more fights in the last 3 weeks to a month in the league than I really saw all season.
It's playoff time. It's coming.
Yeah. How about you, Jordan?
Up.
I see. Yeah, it's playoff time. They're gonna be strong, and this time always remind me of Big Buff having those 2 vegan guys.
I remember when Bufflin took the 2 guys by the jersey.
Yeah.
One of which is actually a Winnipeg Jet right now, and Colin Miller. But no, that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah. So, did you see the Tortorella interview yesterday?
Oh, do we have another hour and a half for this?
What did you see it or no?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, it was actually pretty informative.
Pretty informative.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I would be as a member of the media that would be responsible for going to the dressing room, I would be watching on eggshells.
Yeah.
Trying to ask the diet question if I'm going to be the whipping boy for the next.
Yeah, I'm scared to ask them a question, man.
Oh. But you know what it is? I think especially with me say this, I think that a lot of coaches think what Tortorella says, but Tortorella is the only guy to actually say what probably most coaches are thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, that's a coach's shelf life, but where it's extremely thin. It is a Philadelphia team that has overachieved this year.
Yeah.
And I just see them hitting the finish line at like no gas left in the tank. And I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. I really don't. And then how does that work, right? Relative to expectation. You were so far ahead of the playoffs and you let Pittsburgh back into it. Like Pittsburgh was left for like 2 weeks ago.
Dead.
And now they're 3 back and Washington's not going away and how they're doing it. Like
Yeah.
Ovechkin's been like a real big disappointment minus the last 6 weeks of goal scoring. And Charlie, who is your goaltender? Like, no disrespect to Charlie Lindgren, but that like, I don't know how they're doing it. Like, that's a team that's caught between a rebuild and a trying to compete.
Yeah.
And
It's crazy. The playoffs in the East. It's a battle, man. Cool.
It's gonna be an epic first round.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Like Toronto will play either Boston or Florida.
Listen, I like both matchups from a Toronto standpoint.
Yeah.
Florida's 3-6-1, I think, in their last 10. Really, really hit the skids. Boston, I think if you can get so in your head about having beat a team so many times in a row in the playoffs that eventually it just bites you, right?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that because I'm wearing a Leaf sweater, but it's realistic to think that, I think the Leafs game is really rounding into form. Last night aside, Samsonov to me is starting to really, really round into form, and they're starting to get some goal scoring. So,
how about the Oilers? Do you think they'll play LA or Vegas?
I think the Oilers are going to play Vegas, and I hope they beat the what out of each other for 7 games. Which reminds me actually of the series in the MJHL that ended last night. They had a 5 overtime game in Game 6.
Oh.
Dolphin won Game 6, so they played Game 7 in the PAL last night, and it went to triple overtime.
Oh my God!
Both goaltenders standing on their head. In a 7-game series, 6 one-goal games, 4 overtime games, and the game that wasn't a 1-goal game ended up being a 2-goal game with an empty netter. Probably one of the best playoff series that I know a lot of people that I've talked to within lead circles that have ever seen.
That's nuts.
That's crazy.
Yeah, sucks to be my buddy and Darnell Duff. He's the voice of the team, and you lose that game after coming off an epic win at home in Game 5 at 1 in the morning.
Not
an MJHL show, but it's a hockey note. But
the playoffs are crazy, man.
Playoffs are crazy, and I know in Junior Women's League, where I broadcast a lot, we were 2 games away from our maximum amount of playoff games. Everything went the distance. It could not have been closer.
Wow.
And that's the playoffs, right?
It's look at when we swept the Oilers. 3 of the 4 games went into overtime.
Yeah, and then Ehlers, gets the 2 overtime winners. One of which I think in triple overtime. I remember that was distinctively 1 in the morning and screaming.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the way that ended a few days later with the Shifley, Jake Evans.
I know. Yeah.
But anyway, that's
Anyway,
let's go some playoffs fast.
Yeah.
well, we could talk about the power play. We kind of already did off air, but we could do it on air.
I got nothing to say about that power play other than they got to figure it out.
Yeah. Figure it out. Maybe move a bit more. Shoot the puck.
The good news is I think they refuse to call penalties in overtime in the playoffs in general. So I think if it stays 5-on-5, I like the Jets' chances.
Go ahead, John.
You know what was wild? On Monday, there wasn't a penalty called till the third.
Yeah,
Wild.
don't get me started about NHL officiating being so inconsistent.
Yeah, it's been awful.
Well, it's been inconsistent. Like you look at the Mastercard got hit in the head.
Yeah.
And they said, well, the head wasn't the principal point of contact. And then whoever that Jet guy was without a 3-game suspension for something.
Brendan Dillon.
Dylan, yeah. And you said, they had a head with the principal point of contact. To me, I don't really see a difference between the two, but
yeah, I don't know.
You know what? Listen, those guys are under a lot of scrutiny.
No, I know.
It's a very.
But the thing is, they reviewed it, and they still called it how they called it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we enjoy the action.
Yeah.
As infuriating as it can be sometimes, and
yeah,
I gotta watch what I say because I'm friends with a lot of referees.
oh, for sure. Yeah.
But no, it's
No, I understand the game fast, and you miss things. I mean, they're human; it happens.
They're human at the end.
But my thing is, when you review it, I mean, come on.
In a lot of it, you can agree to disagree, right?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Well, this was fun for the first show. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Jeremy, for coming on, and we'll do this again soon. Bye-bye.